What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Keep It Hoop YouTube channel. And today we are now looking at Immanuel Quickley, the 25th pick out of Kentucky, New York Knicks guard. Um, we decided to do this video after a strong outing in the Knicks comeback win over the Cavs. And I get it, Knicks Cavs. Who watched this game? Not a very interesting game. Well, I happen to be a Knicks fan, unfortunately. But the good thing was, again, he looked good. The whole Knicks team really looked good in the second half, fourth quarter especially. Um, Third quarter was actually pretty bad, but fourth quarter looked really good. And Immanuel Quickley was a big part of that comeback. And obviously, everyone's going to be keeping their eye on Obi Toppin, and he's obviously he was a higher pick. He had a lot of hype coming into the season, but Quickley's performance wasn't unnoticed, and a lot of fans were happy with the way he played, and I think he was even trending on Twitter at one point. But he had a really solid performance. We'll take a look at that and then talk a little bit about you know if this was an outlier or not, and then what we can expect from him moving forward. All right, so we'll take a look at the game, but before we get in, again, if you guys don't know who he is, he was the 25th pick overall in the draft. He won SEC Player of the Year last year at Kentucky, and that was over the number one pick, Anthony Edwards. He was someone that in his freshman year struggled a bit, and he himself talked about how there were people that told him to transfer and kind of gave up on him. Came back to Kentucky for his second year. Started the year pretty solid, but kind of like RJ in the NBA for the Knicks. He really started to pick it up in the second half of the season. Finished the year really strong, and obviously with COVID and everything, they couldn't, finish the season or have the NCAA tournament. So it would have been interesting to see his performance there. I think we I don't know if we talked about it, but one thing I found interesting about this whole college season into draft into NBA season process was, we didn't have March Madness, and as a fan, obviously March Madness is one of the best times of the year for basketball. But also for players, it was big because March Madness can be a huge stepping stone for a lot of players who either played in mid majors and didn't get as many national televised games, or were late bloomers during the season, or just were trending and getting really hot, like Quickly was. So maybe his draft stock rises, maybe it doesn't. Um, but that I found interesting. But yeah, I mean, he's came into the guard or came into the league as a shooting. Shooting was his talent that he could transfer into the league day one. And some people, I heard pro comparisons like Ben Gordon with a crazy wingspan. Um, you know, he is 6'3", which he's not a true point guard. So if he's gonna play shooting guard, it's short, right? But he has a wingspan of around 6'9", 6'10", which again, if you're 6'3", it's a really good wingspan at his size. Um, he's a good defender, which he also showcased at Kentucky. He was he's an aggressive defender. He likes to attack players, and he has good footwork from what we've seen. Um, and the one thing we've talked about in other YouTube videos in terms of at least shooting transferring to the NBA was free throw shooting. Again, we know obviously you're going to look at the 3-point shooting as one indicator of how good of a shooter they are, and he shot 43% from spot up threes, so very good shooter off the catch. But he shot 92.3% from the line, so almost automatic from the line. So he's obviously a good shooter, right? So shooting and defense were the two things that the Knicks, as well as other scouts, looked at him and said, all right, he can transfer that into the league day one. And that's big because those are two things that can keep you in the league for a very long time, right? And I know the Knicks wanted to address shooting in the backcourt, and that gives you know, space for RJ and Julius, depending on what they end up doing with Julius Randle. But see, the pick made sense, and I personally liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I think the big questions and something we'll talk about going forward was his ball handling slash playmaking for other people. That seemed to be the negative slash red flag. Could he do it? How efficient is he at doing so? And we'll go into that as we look at the film and then kind of wrap up at the end on again what we should expect from him going forward. All right, so let's take a look at this game. All right, it's pretty quick. He doesn't seem like an elite athlete, but he's still a solid athlete. We talked about again if you're a guard, especially the shorter you are, this floater. You have to have floaters in your game, going off 2 feet, going off 1 feet, going left, going right. Um, Going left here, um, and then with the right hand, really nice, good arc. Even with the big closing in, nice poise here to I'm sure Cleveland. Not really sure how much scouting report goes into preseason games, but I'm sure they know that he's a shooter first, right? Uses that to his advantage. They close out. Right, because he closes out pretty hard here, so he just does a nice job of using a slight pump fake or even a head fake, more of a head fake, but then gets to the rim. Right, so nice move there, nice finish, soft touch, nice pass there. This is one of those assists in the NBA that it's an assist by rule, but how much did Quickly really help Knox? I mean, it's questionable. He does do a nice job though of taking the double team on. And I will say one thing I found him doing consistently is he gets the ball out quickly, which wasn't always the case at Kentucky. He had more of a score first mentality, and part of that I think is just, you know, um, when you're in college, you want to get noticed. Part of that is I think he was, the top or second, top two options on that Kentucky team, and when you're top two option, you obviously have to look to score. Not that you don't look to pass, but you got to be aggressive, right? So what he does here, he takes the double team on and he doesn't try to drag it out too long. Now I know there are times when you want to drag out the double screen and you want to, let the play develop. Well, Kevin Knox is already popping out, so he doesn't need to develop it, too much longer. And he does a nice job of getting rid of the ball, and he does so in a kind of um, interesting, creative way. He kind of has a jump pass with his right um, here. Kevin Knox, and then is able to get the floater, right? But even at the beginning of this, he uses his pump fake again, right there. Nice solid pump fake. The first one again was a bit more of a head fake. This one, a bit more of an aggressive pump fake. And again, I like how he, after the pump fake, he's shoulder down and getting to or trying to get into the paint, right? Again, some guys when they even if they get someone on a pump fake or if they beat someone on dribble, they then tend to, you know, go outside. And you don't want to play east, west. You just want to keep attacking. His actions are coming off of in the flow of the offense, which is nice. Obviously, whenever someone has ISO or things like that, highlights all fun to watch and stuff. But especially as a rookie, if someone can, make impactful plays in the flow of an offense, really nice to see. The floater is really impressive too. For someone who was labeled as more of a jump shooter, his ability to attack and hit tough floaters in transition, really impressive. Again, going left with the right, not an easy shot. Um, See here playing off the ball this time, and again, that's where I mean that's his strength, right? So he showcased the other things. Um, things he's worked on, things maybe he couldn't showcase at Kentucky. Um, but this is why he got drafted where he got drafted. Right. So if you play off of him, Cleveland's playing what looks like a zone, right? And again, when you're playing the zone, you don't want to dribble too much, right? You just want to move the defense with passes. And Quickly does a nice job. I know it's simple, but just fills the hole, fills fills the space, sees that they're playing a zone, spots up. And the good thing about what he does here, I know these are small things, but they do make a difference, right? When you're playing at the highest level. See if you can rewind it here. He's ready to shoot, right? I know a lot of guys when they're um getting ready to shoot off the ball, right? Like catch and shoot scenarios. There's guys who catch the ball and then shoot, right? Or like and then get in the motion, right? Like right here, he's low, he has his hands up, like he's ready to pop right up into the shot, right? So all he does right here, catch it in motion, nice shot, and that's a little bit beyond the line too, right? Like it's a whole foot, maybe a foot and a half beyond the line. Nice range, and again, no hesitation, the confidence. Um, so seen a little bit of everything so far. Guess that leave to Mitchell Robinson, and again, right? Nice action by the way here, run by Thibodeau. Obviously known as a bit more of a defensive coach, but they have Mitchell getting the ball, and then Dennis Smith running through. So this play probably designed for this pick and roll, this dribble handoff to begin with, and this is kind of a red herring, a decoy, if you will, right? Nice action here, but again, uses the screen and then goes immediately downhill, which engages this defender. And then if you see this play develop, right, as soon as Quickley sees that he can't get back quick enough and that Mitchell Robinson is already on his way, right? And this is gonna get even better as Quickley, gets more confident and comfortable in the NBA, and develops rapport and just more chemistry with guys like Obi and Mitch. But he gets the ball out quickly, right? Because some guards will see this and then maybe try to dribble one more step, let the play out. Maybe they're looking to score for themselves, so they're waiting to see if this defender drops back. He sees this and then immediately lets it go. Doesn't risk a turnover or anything, and just a nice pass, easy basket, right? And these are the kind of baskets that really help the Knicks come back in this game. Again, the main ball handler, nice pass, right? They're playing a zone again. Kevin Knox is wide open, right? He dribbles, right? Because if you're playing against the zone, it's usually, you know, these are the areas you want to attack. Because if you get the ball in the middle of the floor, um, then the defense has to make a decision, right? Because someone has to step up, or down, and then you just move the ball to the open man, right? Um, and usually, you can do it with a pass, and then you have a big at the free throw line. But instead, this time, Quickly is able to get somewhat into the teeth of the defense with a dribble. So Okoro has to step over, right? And then that means Knox is wide open. Um, right. And since it's a zone, it's gonna be hard for this guy to step up because then nobody can cover here. So Quickly it makes a nice play here. And even if he passes to Knox and if he steps up, then again, you still have the pass here. And that's why, you look at if teams keep track of hockey assists, then you can really see who's making the right plays, right? But again, nice play here, simple assist. It looks easy, but these are important reads, and reads you have to be able to make. Again, waits for the defender to commit, and nice pass for the alley oop. Gets Dennis Smith for the trailing three, right? Nice pass there. He's feeling more confident, more comfortable. He calls for the screen here, right? And then again, this time to Obi Toppin. Even in the zone, right? And I know sometimes it's harder to screen and run screen plays against the zone because it's hard to screen some. You have to work out, right? Am I screening? Who am I screening? Who am I screening for? And then how do I roll when it's into space, um, and not necessarily away from a man, right? But they run a nice play here, and again, without the pass, Cookie's able to get into the teeth of the defense, and he's good enough of a shooter where he can shoot this, right? But Bolden, who was here, stepping up here now, and Obi actually makes a nice read because he was at the corner, which let's say corner 3 here. He can shoot it, but why not get the dunk if you can, right? So he sees Bolden cheated up. Right, this guy has to stay with RJ, and he has to make sure that Robinson doesn't get a layup or a dunk, and he has to stay out on Kevin Knox. So, and you see the tension that Immanuel's getting, right? Eyes on him, eyes on him, eyes on him, eyes on him, eyes on him. He has 5 guys looking, so Obi Toppin again does a nice job of just cutting baseline, and then quickly, because he's able to get into the teeth of the defense, sees it. Nice alley-oop there. And then again, nice pass. I mean, this is a little bit of a more difficult shot at the end of a shot clock, but still a really nice pass. And it's these are simple plays, but again, these are reads you have to be able to make, and on target, on time, 2 things that surprisingly not every guard in the NBA can do, right? And still able to do it. Again, getting into the teeth of the defense, right? He's always threatening to have 1 foot in the paint, and again, that puts a lot of pressure on the defense. It's right there. Really nice, right? So what if like what can we expect from him going forward? Well, I will say I think that it's unlikely that he has games like this where I think he ended up having 9 points and 7 assists. I think the 9 points you can expect something around that range if he gets playing time, which I think if he keeps playing the way he did, he can get. He defends, which obviously Tibbs likes, and he can shoot, which is a must in the NBA now, right? So he has 2, skill sets that in today's NBA are super important. One thing that the 7 assists are, I think, an anomaly for him, just because he has talked about how he is or was a point guard going into Kentucky and is really comfortable with handling the ball and getting guys involved. He just didn't do that at Kentucky because that wasn't his role. That's not what his team needed him to do. But he said he's comfortable doing it. So, I do think he's a better playmaker than maybe people thought or expected coming out of college. But he did average 1 assist and 1 turnover at college. So, there's still a sample size there. And granted, his role, again, wasn't a playmaker. He only averaged, again, 1 assist. And it's not like he had no turnovers still. So 1 assist, 1 turnover. And I think his season high, at least his sophomore year in Kentucky, in assists was 5. And he already surpassed this. He surpassed 5, again in this game. But I do think, some of these assists were tough shots that won't always go in. Fast break. And I mean, it was against Cleveland, right? No offense to Cleveland, but they're not necessarily known for their defense. And we all remember what Joakim Noah said about Cleveland.
I just stayed in my hotel room, man. Every time I look out my window, it's pretty depressing out here, man. It's bad. It's bad.
So you're not going out?
No going out in Cleveland, man. It's all factories.
Do you regret anything that you said about Cleveland?
Not at all. You like it? You think Cleveland's cool? I mean, I never heard anybody say I'm going to Cleveland on vacation. I mean, what's so good about Cleveland?
But that being said, I mean, I do think the 7 assists we're not going to see. Again, I may be wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong, because it was nice to see him playing with confidence and he seemed pretty comfortable with the offense. I think we'll see him have games of 3 assists and maybe a few of like 4 or 5 here and there. Um, I do think a lot of it also depends on just the playing time he gets, because we have a logjam at the point guard situation, right? Alfred Payton seems to be Thibodeau's favorite guy, and I don't blame him. He's a solid player and probably the best point guard we have. I thought he was going to get picked up by a more contending team because I think his talent's wasted on the Knicks, to be frank, right? Because he's not the part of your, not one of those players who's going to be part of the core moving forward. At least I don't think. And Frank is solid, and he's gonna. I think people are talking about how his offensive game is continuing to improve a bit, and he's gonna get minutes with Tibbs just because of his defense. And Dennis Smith, the Knicks are definitely trying to get as much as they can out of him, and this is kind of his last opportunity, so I'm sure he's gonna be playing his heart out. And then you have obviously still Quickley. Um, Quickly can get some minutes at the 2 just because of his wingspan and his shooting. I think same can be said about Frank because of his size. But yeah, I mean, if he gets 15, 20 minutes a game, then yeah, he can have 3, 4 assists. But if he makes some rookie mistakes, has some off shooting nights, Tibbs is a disciplined guy, and he's not afraid to not play rookies. Like Jimmy Butler didn't get a lot of minutes his first year, right? So I think that will have a big impact on how many, not just assists, but how much impact he has as a playmaker. Because again, his go-to immediately translatable skill are going to be defense and 3-point shooting. But yeah, thanks for watching. That'll be it for this episode. Again, be sure to go check out the Denny videos as well as the other ones. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, notification bell, hit that, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, WordPress, all that. Again, description below has the links for that. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned. See you.